Hel- Hello and welcome to the Golden Sports Report episode 81. I'm Andy,
I'm Chris.
and tonight we're going to quickly cover the Bills Giants preseason game as that is going on right now. The kickoff just happened. Um, kind of try and figure out what we would like to get from this game and talk about the aspects of having a fifth preseason game and how that has its pros and cons and whether we prefer it or not. And lastly, we're going to talk about the offensive linemen of the Bills and how that's shaping up right now. They've had a few injuries. Um, I think Urbic and Williams are both hurt. So we have two rookies starting on our offensive line right now, or three maybe. So that's the thing. Um, so first, I guess we'll talk about the Giants game. What do you see happening in this game, Chris? What do you hope to see? Like, as we know, starters really don't play much in this game. How long do you expect you to see Manuel and Watkins and players like that out there? What do you hope to get from this game?
Um, Honestly, what I'm hoping to get from this game is, just inside looks at the depth chart, and then like who's going to be our starters as of right now, and then right off that, I want to look at, how our younger guys are going to stack up. Are they going to be able to perform? Obviously, this game is on national television. It's the first game in the NFL season, 2014-2015 season. So, it's exciting, and those young guys will be able to get out there and and they'll know that there's going to be a lot of pressure on them right away, because millions of people are tuning in right now to watch. So, um, obviously, it's a preseason game. I expect to see the starters out there maybe for one drive, like one drive at the most. I'd say, like at the most, I'd say maybe two or three, but I don't expect more than one. Like the Giants just had their first drive and they went three and out. Brandon Spikes had a nice tackle on a run. I think the Bills just got a first down, so we have the first down of the game. So uh, we're looking good. Yeah, but all I'm expecting is exactly that one drive, and then out with the starters, in with the backup guys. It looked like it was Sammy Watkins and then Mike Williams as our top two wide receivers there to start. So, and a pass to Sammy. Catch that. He's an inch off. Sorry. Mm. He had the corner beat, though, and the safety. So, like, right away. If EJ didn't have such a shitty throw, then that would have been a touchdown. And, oh my God, that would have been amazing. I probably would have cried.
That sounds like a typical EJ Manuel. And though, that kind of plays into this theory. Sammy and EJ really haven't been playing long together. They only really began playing together this past month, and should should they get more than one drive? Like, is it worth the risk to give them more than one drive in this game of game time experience with each other because they don't have that time to get down? And it's definitely a thing to think about. However, like, I really only expect them to be out there for like two drives, maybe one or two drives in this game, and then it progress further and further until the last game when they don't play at all. And it's good that we stopped the Giants starters. You know, I don't know who they have out there because I'm not watching the game right now. But without our two starting cornerbacks, we were able to stop them on the first drive of the game of the season. So that's a good thing. And yeah, it's definitely a thing. I'm hoping to get from this of the team for the off season. Be like, that's why we got that guy. That guy is why we picked him, and it's just getting people to see, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is who's gonna play here right now, and things like that. I know we have a couple major injuries tonight. McKelvin and Gilmore aren't playing, and Chandler and Milwaukee aren't. I don't think Chris Williams is. So that's the thing.
Cordy Glenn's still out with that non-football related illness. So, we're out our best left tackle, our top two corners, our top tight end, top two tight ends, and the funny thing is Lee Smith actually caught our only first down. So, as much as we say that he's a blocking tight end, he actually caught a pass. So he did better than Scott Chandler. Oh, sad. But yeah, EJ threw on a 3rd and 3, EJ threw it right into the Giants' defensive lineman, and it's just like, okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, we're about to see if the Giants starters are coming back out or not. I don't expect them to, so yeah, definitely we're gonna see what our new guys can do. I'd like to see for sure. I'd like to see what that what's his name? Oh, second middle linebacker or linebacker that we got in the 3rd round. Someone looking for someone to replace Kiko.
Yeah, you want to be able to. Did they have Bradham out there the first time?
Yeah, they had Bradham out there.
They might leave Bradham out there for a little while because it's not a situation where he is the guaranteed starter. They might want him in a little bit longer to get more of a look at him. Who knows? But that's the thing.
Well, Giants starters are still in. So they still got Eli in, and Bills defense playing like crap already. Awesome.
The first 3 now.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got Marcel Darius just flopped all over the place. Oh, well, the bonus is our run game is looking amazing. They've tried to run it 2 or 3 times, and they haven't gained a single yard. So.
Run defense.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Brandon Spikes is a really good run defending linebacker. It's just Kiko is a good pass coverage linebacker, so
Yeah.
that's where we're missing it. But I guess I should ask you now, because we kind of touched on the injuries, as this is our first preseason game of 5 with the Buffalo Bills, and I know we talked about this a little before. What's your opinion on the 5th preseason game? Do you think this is an advantage or a disadvantage, and why?
I think there's advantages and there's disadvantages. Obviously, in every situation, you're going to have a bit of both. And in this one, you're going to get more coverage. You're going to get more recognition. You're going to have a lot of people watching you. You're going to be able to know who's going to be able to play on the national TV, and sometimes people can't. But and then with the 5 games, a lot of since teams only have 4, sometimes they might cut the wrong player because one guy has a good game this game but the bad game the next. So we just have an extra game to be able to judge who's going to be able to perform. Looks like we just got a fumble recovery, but there's a flag. Just to kind of throw that out there. Well, Eli looks very sad too. Oh, holding on the offense too. So there we go. Oh snap! Tom Coughlin looks pissed. He's like, "No, not again, not again."
Well, one thing about Tom Coughlin is he does not. He really, 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 really gets pissed when you fumble a ball. Like most coaches, get pissed, of course. But like Tom Coughlin and Bill Belichick, they are like they get so mad that it's like you aren't playing the rest of the game, dickhead.
Yeah.
You you've done it. Your fumble
Yep.
just kicked you out of the game.
You saw that with Stephen Ridley. Stephen
So,
Ridley obviously was. Sorry, continue.
well, I was just gonna be like, so do
Oh,
you
sorry,
feel
continue.
that?
I think it's an advantage, but like I said, the advantages, the disadvantages would be, obviously you have more risk, you have more games playing, which means you have more injuries that could happen. But I mean, if your player gets injured in the preseason, I mean, I guess it's better to have them get injured now. That way, if you cut someone, they don't get picked up from a different team. And like obviously, that player is injury prone if they're already getting injured so early in the season. Especially like say EJ gets hurt again in the preseason, like we're gonna be in trouble. So I don't know. I don't know when I'd rather see it happen. I think I'd rather see it happen in the preseason, an injury, but I don't know. I'd say it's an advantage overall.
It, like you said, there are pros and cons. I'll start with cons, and injuries are one. It's like, these guys, we have 5 injuries already. Well, I guess they said the 2 cornerbacks are injuries that happened before the training camp even started. Those guys came in injured. Um, but the 2 tight ends injured, uh, lineman injured. Cordy Glenn with this not a football related illness injured. But like if EJ got hurt, it we we'd be in trouble because it's like, damn, we gotta stick with this guy for another 2 years now. Like this, he's freaking getting injured all the time. But that would be if he got injured. Another con, that's one more week of hitting on the body for these football players that they don't even want six. The NFL is like, oh, let's make it an 18 game schedule, and the players are like, yo, let's leave it 16 and let's take away some training camp too, because they hate training camp. They don't like all this extra hitting. It wears you down, and this extra week, although it may seem minor, that is one more week for them than anybody else. So fatigue sets in December, things of that nature. Um, Pros, with a young team like this is great because that wear isn't as much as we think it is. And they need time to learn the playbook. Although the coach has been here for a season, that's still not enough time to really master the playbook. I'm sure it's very simple in comparison to other teams' playbooks because you have a young rookie quarterback, you have young wide receivers, you have a young offensive line, a young defense. Like this team is just all around a young team. And to have that extra week, that's an extra week of preparation, that's an extra week of experience that these players would not have had. This is another week of a chance to even just gain chemistry. Sammy Watkins, AJ Manuel, like I mentioned before. They may not have it yet, but that's an extra week where maybe they got that slant down or the out or curl route down. Same thing with Woods and Williams. I'm really surprised Williams was the outside guy starting, but I'm sure you're going to see a lot of different wide receiver sets Goodwin's out, which is very good because I guess from practice, Chris Hogan has really locked down that slot receiver. Like, not locked it down, obviously, but I guess he's looked the best in the slot out of all of our wide receivers right now, which is crazy because he's like 6'4", and we'll be able to see more of T.J. Graham tonight. See if he's worth keeping around. Um, there's disadvantages and advantages, and I'm gonna have to give it an advantage as well because the team's so young and it needs this opportunity to become better, to become a better football team. And we'll see what happens in this game. I don't expect the guys to play very long. Um, I kind of figured it'd be a couple series, and then it progresses series, a quarter, a half, and then in the fourth game they play the half, and then come out for the second half, and then the final game not play at all. So it's an advantage. It is an advantage. Everyone needs to play more. This team needs to play more, and yeah, I'm trying to look at something quick.
While you're looking, I just
By
want
the
to
way,
mention something
like,
here.
comment, favorite, subscribe.
While you're looking for whatever it is you're looking, can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Um, Back to something we talked about last episode. I believe it was last episode. We mentioned on how important it is to have a kickoff specialist. And honestly, it's really not important at all because um, they moved up the kickoff to the 35-yard line. So having um, that kickoff specialist who can kick it, obviously can kick it further down the field. It's not as important because it's all you need to do is really get it into like maybe the half of the end zone, and that's not that far now because it's at the 35-yard line, whereas it used to be at the 30. So you don't really need that guy who's going to have to try to kick it a little bit harder to get it out. Because I mean, if it goes like how it's going now, how we will never ever have to defend a kickoff return this season because Hopkins is just easily booting it out of the end zone. And obviously that's awesome. Not having to defend a kickoff, but then it's like, well, what's the point of having a special teams then? Those players aren't going to be able to play much. I don't know.
I guess it raises a question. So we scored then.
We got a field goal.
Huh, 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 huh. I guess that raises a question though, because you have the kickoff specialist, and we're like, hey, should we have a kickoff specialist? Because who keeps two kickers on the roster? That's a waste of a position on a team that has so many injuries already. And you have to think to yourself, well, then if you keep the kicker, you don't have to keep the 3 or 4 extra players for special teams, like those wide receivers and linebackers and things like that. Then again, they have to cover punts and do punt return and kick return and stuff like that. But kickoff was one quarter of their job is gone. Um, I don't know. Like, it definitely it's definitely a position of luxury that I don't know. The Bills just don't have luxury. So Hopkins is kicking out of the back of the end zone, though. That's a big deal. It means he's at least a good kickoff specialist. So,
Yeah, but I mean, how weak is Dan Carpenter's leg that he can at least get it to that near there in the end zone. Like, I don't know.
Can kick a 60-yard field goal, but can't kick the football 60 yards to get it to the end zone.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention real quick, the Bills were actually favored by 3 points in this game. And we have 3 points scored.
So if you bet on this game, you're winning. Betting on the preseason games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bet on how long EJ Manuel plays. Yeah. So what I was looking for earlier was other topics we were supposed to talk about on Wednesday that we didn't, but we're not. We're gonna push that. We're gonna talk about that later, not now. Um, so that's something. I guess final words might be 15 minutes. So we got another, 20 minutes to spare here. So we're gonna talk about offensive line and see where that takes us. So the offensive line is a big question mark with the Bills. We may have one of the better centers in the league in Eric Wood, in our opinion, at least in our biased opinion. He gets injured a lot, but he is a solid center. Left tackle, what a question mark. Cordy Glenn, people were like, oh, he's getting better, he's getting better. Now he has an illness that can't make him allow him to play. We're trusting a 7th-round pick in that position. Um, we signed Chris Williams, and in most people's opinion, that was the most overpaid player of the offseason across all positions. And he's injured. Craig Urbich's injured. We have Eric Pierce in there and Juanjo and things like that. So, Chris, what's your opinion of the offensive line? What have you been hearing? What have you been seeing? Um, what do you think's going to happen with it?
Well, I'm taking a peek at the depth chart right now. Right now, the starting depth chart is left tackle Cordy Glenn, left guard Chris Williams, center Eric Wood, right guard Craig Urbich, right tackle Eric Pierce. Right now, I think Central Henderson's in there at left tackle for Cordy Glenn. Could be wrong though, but I'm almost positive. I believe all three of the rookies, Central, Henderson, Richardson, and Quangio, are second on the depth chart there, so that's good. Doug Legursky, interestingly enough, is the second string center, and Doug Legursky is awful. But we do have a pretty good center in Eric Wood. Cordy Glenn, unfortunately, he's out with an illness. I still don't know all the details on it. He's one of the better top 10 left tackles in the league, at least I would say so. And a lot of statistics around the league say so for sure. Chris Williams, he can play a lot of positions on that offensive line, but obviously he got overpaid. He's not really a great player. I'd like to see maybe one of the rookies end up taking the spot from him, but that would mean that was a waste of a lot of money. But I mean, I'd rather waste a lot of money than waste a roster spot on trying to give this guy the starting job just because we're paying him to start. Like, if he's not going to perform, I'd rather have the rookie start. Craig Urbich at right guard, he's okay. But Chris Hairston was out all last year, and I've always liked Chris Hairston. I think he was pretty good. I'd like to see him come in and perform well. I don't remember what it was last year. I think it was some sort of illness or heart trouble, something. But something happened. I remember having an interview, or listening to an interview with him. Obviously Eric Pierce at right tackle is a little iffy. He's one of the lower end right tackles that are considered starting. I would say he isn't even a starter. He's not very good. But Cyrus Quangio, our rookie that we drafted to take over, has been said to be looking more of like a development player. So he's not going to be uh, starting or playing him much this year. Most likely, he could end up surprising people, but um, it's kind of worries me. Um, right now, if we can get Cordy Glenn back, that'd be great. But I'm not really seeing. Giants just had a big run. I'm not really seeing like anything that really stands out as amazing, except for Corey Glenn. Well, okay. I'm seeing two positions that stand out as solid: center and left tackle. Um, and then the rest are question marks. Really, we don't really know how how they'll perform if the rookies will step in. Um, and even right now, left tackle is a question mark with Glenn out. So yeah, I definitely like to see the rookies in though.
Yeah, at least to see what we have, what the future might entail. Uh, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you made a really good draft with the offensive lineman this year." Henderson, our seventh round pick, he was supposed to be projected to go in the first or second round, but because of pot and him smoking a lot, he dropped because everyone questioned his maturity. Um, Quanjo, I have my doubts about Quanjo, but as they said, he's a development player. But the sad part about it is, now Marone said he was a development player. Quanjo is still getting some first team reps, which means Piers isn't even like got that position locked down over the development player, which is scary because with Cordy Glenn injured, well, not playing, you have rookies on both edges of the line. Chris Williams hurt. Craig Urbeck might be hurt. Richardson might be playing there. Legursky's probably starting on the line right now in place of somebody. You know, we have a good young line, but overall in this like 2014 season right now, we may have one of the worst lines. And that's scary for a quarterback that has a knee of glass. And I don't like EJ Manuel, but you don't want to see somebody get hurt. And I know he's fragile, but this line's so bad that he might get sacked a lot. And the last few years, our team really hasn't been getting sacked a lot. The quarterbacks, they've been able to avoid. Fitzpatrick scrambled a lot. Manuel could scramble. Lewis has scrambled. Jeff Toole really not so much. And they're Manuel. We haven't really seen a lot of EJ since he came back from his injury. You know, you got to wonder how he's going to move around this preseason. I guess, you got to watch that and see how he moves around because this line might keep him on the move at the rate it's going. Um, I agree with Chris. Center and left tackle look all right. The right side of the line is scary to think about. Usually, when you create an offensive line, when you start to mold your players, the right side's more of a run blocking side, and the left side's more of a pass blocking side because the the blind side of the quarterback, you want the best pass blocker there because the quarterback's not going to see that guy coming. And on the other side, you usually just run the ball the other side because it's easier to hand off that way. And you know that's a thing. That is a thing. Um, the next thing we'll talk about because we didn't talk about it because it happened this week. Red Jackson got extended with a 2-year deal worth I think $9 million. He got $4.5 million for 2 years. Um, Spiller's a free agent. You know, you got Bryce Brown and Anthony Dixon, and I know we talked about running backs once, but this was in the Golden Sports Report chat on Facebook. We had a little bit of a discrepancy. Me and one of our other hosts, Mark. You know, we went back and forth a little bit. Um, Chris, what is your opinion of the Fred Jackson deal? Now he got the deal before Spiller did. Um, what do you think this says about the situation going forward and next off season?
This shows that Fred Jackson is the oldest player to ever, oldest running back to ever play a game in the NFL. At 33 years of age. He obviously gets a lot of respect around here, and he respects this city and this team. And he knows he's not going to be around for long, and he doesn't want that much money. So, a couple years, couple $1 million, not a bad deal. I'm glad that we got it done, and I'm excited to see another deal get done. Depending on how much CJ Spiller wants, because I know you and Mark argued a lot, and you had all these statistics, and Mark was just like, and then it was a whole thing. Any viewers, it was a whole thing that happened, and it happened. Jeff Toole's coming in. Anyways, I don't know if I want to see Spiller back or if I want to see us, see if Bryce Brown can become, a good enough running back, as he's shown flashes of in the past in Philadelphia. He's shown to be a similar player to, I don't know if I compare him to LaShawn McCoy, but that'd be nice. Obviously, I didn't see much of his running. All I know is that he has shown flashes of eliteness. So, but I mean, any running back can break out a run on their lucky day, so you never know. Unfortunately, I'm pretty skeptical about CJ Spiller. I've made it known. CJ Spiller has had one good year, and then the very next year he battled injuries the whole year long. However, he's always had a really good run yards per attempt, yards per carry. It's usually around that 4.5 area, which is excellent. That's amazing. But that's because he'll break out these 30-yard runs, but then he'll get like -5-yard runs, and it kind of evens out somewhere in the middle there. So, he's obviously an exciting player, and he's a great game-breaking player. But if we're looking to the future of this franchise, CJ Spiller's already, 26, 27? Something like that. CJ Spiller could end up, a player like him, he's going to lose his speed. You saw it in CJ 2K. Chris Johnson. He lost his speed and he lost his ability to make plays. Obviously, he's still fast, but he can't break a tackle or even bounce off a tackle to save his life. He's awful now, and I'm afraid that might happen to CJ Spiller. He's probably got maybe 3-4 more years of his level of running back left, and then that's it. I mean, if we're looking for the future of this franchise, sure, 3-4 years, that's a pretty good amount of time talking football years for running back. But if we get Bryce Brown in the thing, we've got him for another 7, 8 years. So you're talking double the time and possibly half the money for a similar player, which was Andy's argument.
Yeah, that was my big. Yeah, yeah, that was exactly my argument. I was like, you know, looking at Spiller's 27 years old, Brown's 23, and you let Spiller go. What's big? Jackson's 1,000-yard running back too. Like, a tandem of Spiller, Jackson, Brown. I'm fine with Jackson, Brown, Dixon for 2 years, and then 2 years down the road, you get another running back that can be a backup to Brown, or do whatever you want to do, draft another one. I don't really care 2 or 3 years down the road if you draft one in the fourth or fifth round. Running backs can be picked anywhere in the draft. But look at Arian Foster, undrafted. But like I just Spiller wants a lot of money. He wants Jamal Charles contract. Spiller is not Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is one of the top three running backs in the league. He is upper echelon speed, upper echelon ability, and he gets a ball 350 times, 300 times a year, between catching and running. And he doesn't get hurt as much. Sure, he missed a whole season, and I still have my doubts about him when I compare him to Adrian Peterson or LaShawn McCoy. But Spiller is injury prone. He's not as fast as Charles, and he shouldn't be asking for $6 million a year because, frankly, Marshawn Lynch deserves $6 million more than Spiller does. Marshawn Lynch carries the ball 350 times a year. He actually runs the ball for positive yards, scores touchdowns, stays on the football field, earns his money. Spiller doesn't do that. He doesn't stay on the football field. He can't stay healthy. He does stupid things. And you got Fred Jackson, who's completely capable of being a starting running back in this league and has battled his whole career to be in this position. He deserves to go out when he wants to go out because he has fought to this point every step of the way. And in my opinion, the league should not determine when he leaves. He should determine when he leaves because right now he is still a quality running back. And I've heard rumors that people are interested in Spiller. Like they want us to trade them Spiller. In this season, without Kiko, we may have a rough start. We might have a rough season. And if someone offers me a good amount, a good price for Spiller, I'm going to take it because he's a free agent, and frankly, I don't want to re-sign him. I think he's going to want too much money. And they're like, oh, well, you got the cap space. Put the cap money somewhere else. Get a stud right tackle. Not this Quanjo. Sure, he may be a good player. Maybe Richardson's a good player. Maybe Henderson's a good player. But it's not like paying $10 million a year to a stud Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman that you can just stick in there and say, that position is solid for the next 5 years. I don't have to worry about it. And that is more important to me than a running back that we already have that we can get at a cheaper price. Nobody will be CJ Spiller on a roster, but it is very simple to get the same results and at half the price. So, I'm thinking, if someone offers me like a second round pick for CJ Spiller, I'm going to probably take it. People say, well, that's a low price. It might be a low price, but a second round pick, I think you got to try and make up for that Watkins trade last year. Chris, what would be the lowest price you would take for Spiller in a trade?
Lowest price for Spiller, I don't know. I think I like the oh, Jeff Toole's running. Oh, wow. He's faster white guy. Um, wow. Lowest price for Spiller. I don't know. I'd like to say, I'd ask for like a first, but I mean, Spiller, sure, he's a good running back, but I don't think he's worth a first round anymore. So I could see like a second round and maybe throw in like an extra fourth or fifth, because you can find guys in the fourth or fifth round that you know that can come in and be good running backs. Um, or even good wide receivers, other positions. Uh, Someone that I plan on talking about later on just happened to be a fourth round pick and also just happened to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, you know, you never know. Um, so I'd say, second, fourth, fifth, maybe instead of a fourth and fifth, maybe like a guy that just got drafted who could end up being something decent, like a younger player. But I don't know. There's a lot of things about football. I think I compare it too much to hockey now. Because in hockey, you get all these years to develop a player. You draft them at 18 years old, and you can develop them for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe even more if they really need it. And then they've got from 22 years old until they're 40 to play with you. Um, or even if they're good enough, they can start playing at 18. That's for hockey. So it's it's weird. Like that's how I think I compare it too much to football, because I look at football and I say, well, look at this. We just got Sammy Watkins. Sure, he's a young player, but um, we can't. He's only going to be here tops 10, 11 years until he's like 32, and I could only see maybe like 6 or 7, maybe 8 years of decent play from him, maybe 9, until he starts to drop off, obviously. Whereas in hockey, you can expect that for his whole career. And we have to develop Watkins like right away. Like he's got to get thrown right into the fire. And I don't know, it's weird to me when looking at hockey and football, the way each sport develops their young players. Um, but you know, I don't even remember the question now after I went on that rant.
Well, you answered it. Like, what was the lowest price you'd take for
Oh
Spiller?
yeah, look,
Yeah, it's you really, as you're learning more and more about hockey and the behind the scenes things, hockey and baseball's development are very similar. It takes 4 or 5 years sometimes for players to actually develop, and then it's like, all right, Joel Armia, we drafted you in 2011, and it looks like in 2015, 16, you're going to be playing for us. And it's like, well, that's 4 years after you drafted him. Sure, it was 4 years after we drafted him, but we got another 15 years. But Sammy Watkins, it was like, right now, right now, we need you to play. And looking at the stats from tonight, he has 0 catches and 3 target hits. DJ Manuel went 2 for 7 with 19 yards. Our boy Spiller, 2 yards on his only carry. 2 for 7. Damn it,
Robert Woods
EJ
just caught
Manuel.
a Robert Woods just caught a touchdown pass from Jeff Toole though.
Because Jeff Toole is the man. We suck. You know, I was
He
kind
wasn't
of
that
making
bad
fun
in
of
that
my
game
brother.
against Kansas City. I saw him play in person. He wasn't that bad.
No, he was. He didn't lose us the football game. Everyone says, "Oh, he threw that interception." He didn't really lose us the football game. You know, poor guy. Poor guy. Um, my boy Jeff Toole, the man, the myth, the legend. 8 for 11, 1 touchdown. EJ Manuel 2 for 7. Sammy Watkins, no catches. Kyle Williams had a sack.
Yeah, he caused a fumble on Eli Manning. Just to kind of throw this out there, I don't know if you noticed, but they're doing the extended field goals. They're doing them from, I think, 33 yards out, so that's good to see. Make it more challenging. There's going to be a lot more missed extra point attempts. So that'll be a thing. All the scoring is going to be different now. You're going to have a few more mixed extra points.
Yeah, I think they said 99.8% of extra points were being made. So they were like, well, we have two ways of handling this. We can either automatically give you 7 or back it up. So they're going to try backing it up. This is only a test, though. This isn't for sure. They're going to test it and then see if they're going to implement it or not. All right. Well, that kind of exhausted our topics for tonight. We have about 10 minutes, enough for final words. You know, we go over. It's been a whirlwind of a weekend, as you're going to cover. And, the football season began. It's official. The Bills football season began tonight, right now. We're seeing it. And hopefully this season, although I don't think it's going to be much of a great season, everyone's got to be optimistic a little bit and say, well, come on, this is the year we'll win the Super Bowl. We're not going to win the Super Bowl, but we have to see progress, and hopefully progress is seen this year. The future is, you see signs of greatness for years down the road. That's what's important. So, like, comment, favorite, subscribe if you liked anything that we talked about. If you have an opinion, comment below, and we'll talk about the next episode. Views have went way down, as expected. Those mock drafts really were killer. If we can, we're gonna change a lot of things. You gotta download the recording software. I gotta download it. We're gonna change how the show works, and we'll be better. And hopefully more people watch. Therefore, this will be, different. So yeah, Chris, I'll let you have the floor for your final word.
All right. My final word, I mentioned a little bit earlier. Buffalo Bills, uh, greatest wide receiver in Buffalo Bills history. Stevie Johnson. Oh, what? No, not even a little bit, but for real, no jokes. Andre Reed was inducted into the NFL Football Hall of Fame last night, and I don't know if any of you watched the speech, but it was really emotional. And the way he talked about his family and his life, he didn't have it easy going. He talked about how his dad would always, make him do laps while all the other kids were out swimming or having fun. His dad made him and his brother run laps and do workout stuff, and he talked about how he came from a small town, blah blah, and all that good stuff, and small college, and then ended up going in the fourth round of the draft to the Buffalo Bills. Um, and he said that he didn't even know where Buffalo was uh, when they drafted him, and but it was amazing. His speech was awesome. He touched up on a topic that we've discussed a lot lately um, on the show and in our chats. The Bills sale. He uh, he was talking about Ralph Wilson and and then he mentioned, he was like, oh, and by the way, Buffalo Bills will be staying. The Bills will be staying in Buffalo, and there were so many Bills fans there. The whole crowd just went insane, just ballistic, and it was amazing. There was a couple guys in the stands with no Bon Jovi shirt sign, and I heard that Bon Jovi is playing the halftime show. Did you hear that?
If he does, that'd be hilarious. Let me look real quick
Yeah,
while you're talking.
yeah. Look it up, because someone told me he was, and if he does, I hope he gets booed hard. Um, Andre Reed said recently he had some colorful words about Bon Jovi, and it was very simple in his description of his feelings towards John Bon Jovi and the group currently trying to buy the Buffalo Bills. Um, um, in a recent interview, I don't know if I talked about this before, but he said, quote unquote, man, fuck Bon Jovi. And that's a thing. That happened. And he said it. He also had some colorful words about Johnny Manziel, but that's for another time. But Andre Reed, to get back to his Hall of Fameness, he was amazing. He's all-time great wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Leads the team all-time for receiving yards, touchdowns, receptions. Um, at the time, Jim Kelly and Andre Reed led the league for the most uh, hookups between a quarterback and a wide receiver. Um, when he retired, he was fourth all-time in receiving yards, I think, and third all-time in receptions. When he retired, now he's not. But he was just an amazing player, and all the testimonies and from all the players that he's played with, and all the Hall of Fame Buffalo Bills guys, and it's amazing. It was amazing. We saw Marv Levy talk a little bit and stuff like that, and he ended up catching a pass from Jim Kelly, which was awesome and great to see. He talked a little bit about Jim, and when he was talking about Jim, uh, everyone in the stands stood up and was clapping and cheering on um, number 12. So it's good. That was good to see. Um, it was amazing. But yeah, Andre Reed, Buffalo Bills Hall of Fame, another member of that 1990 season that went to 4 straight Super Bowls but couldn't win a single one.
Yeah, don't cry. Right? Dylan's the only one that's allowed to cry on the show. Don't cry.
That's when Derek Jeter finally retires.
Uh,
That's going to be a whole thing. Well, if there's Dylan.
not going to be here to defend himself right now. But it's up to you.
That's
Yeah.
intentional grounding. Sorry.
Um, what really the speech, what I really liked about the speech was his story of the first time, because I've heard, about the big tree before, and all the football players used to go there all the time. Like if you went there, no doubt there was going to be Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and Bruce Smith just sitting there having a beer, talking to fans all night long, just having a great time. And when he said that story about the big tree and Bruce Smith on his first plane ride, it was really really cool. You know, it's not like that anymore. Andre Reed said that. He said that in an interview. He said it's not like before. He said it's all about winning and money now. He said before it was let's all get together, have fun, and if we win, we win. And let's be a family, let's stick together. People didn't care about money. They wanted to be on a team with their friends. You know, Andre was like, he was telling Bruce Smith and Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly, he was like, you guys are part of my family. He mentions Thurman Thomas. He mentions Thurman Thomas's wife and kids, and Jim's family, his wife, his kids, and he just is like, we are all a family, and that's not something you see in this day and age. It's not about them. It's so about money and endorsements and selfishness that the game has changed. Sports has changed. And, Andre Reed from Kuntstown College, D2, small little shitting thing. We are a blue collar city. We have blue collar players, blue collar Hall of Famers, and it's probably gonna be the last Hall of Famer for like 40 years for us. So we better soak this in because we're not gonna get another Hall of Famer anytime soon. If you look at the current roster out there, I don't see any Hall of Famers on it. So that's a thing. Um, so yeah, it was definitely mind blowing to watch yesterday. My final word, I'm gonna cover it real quick. NASCAR today. I didn't watch any of the race. Um, So Dale Jr. won. He swept Pocono. He now is in a tie for the lead in wins. Therefore, he's first in points going into the chase. These three wins are the most he's had since, I believe, 2010 when he had 6 wins. Um, so this is one of the best years he's had of his career. Hendrick Motorsports, he was the only guy that did well. Actually, Jeff Gordon did good, but he fucked up the restart at the end and lost. Jimmy Johnson had a terrible day. Yes, his first time in his career, he's had 4 straight non-top 10 finishes, so that's a thing. And there was a big wreck in the middle of the race. 13 cars piled up. One ended up on top of another. Um, I guess that was the real interesting part. A lot of tires blew up, so Goodyear has problems. Um, but yeah, there's 4 races left to go. And this weekend coming up is Watkins Glen. Literally, an hour and a half away. NASCAR drivers are all going to be racing. They believe a lot of drivers say Watkins Glen is their favorite place to race because of the party atmosphere that's around the track. And Watkins Glen is a very small. The village of Watkins Glen itself isn't much bigger than Hamburg, but it has a big racetrack next to it. So when drivers go there, there's not a lot. All of a sudden, it's hustle and bustle, but it's also got that small town feel to it. I'll talk about that more on Wednesday if we do have a show. I didn't really look at the schedules yet to figure out if that's going to happen. Um, but yeah, so Junior won. I believe Harvick finished second. Logano finished third. All three drivers are in the chase. I believe Harvick has 3 wins too. I think Johnson, Keselowski, Harvick, and Junior have 3 wins. Um, so yeah, that is that, and that's pretty much the episode. I believe we covered an hour and maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes over that. So yeah, good game, bitches. Um, share if you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell us why. Probably it's gonna be because you got all the way to here and you're like, what the fuck? This thing was too long. We're fixing that, so you won't have to say what the fuck. This was too long. Uh, like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Oh shit. Um, this was the Golden Sports Word episode 81. Bye.
Peace soup.